I'm Scoop.
I'm Scott. You're watching OSD. Toy Review Time.
G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe, fighting man from head to toe, on the land, on the sea, in the air.
50 years ago this year, G.I. Joe was introduced as the world's first action figure. It was a 12-inch doll, so it was basically the male version of Barbie. But in the 80s, due to the success of the Star Wars figures, which were the 3 3/4 inch size, they decided, hey, let's try turning the old G.I. Joe into this new scale. And they actually looked at making vehicles. The vehicles was the main thing of the toy line that they were going to do, and the action figures would just come along with them. The toys, in terms of the action figures, were so successful that really became the mainstay of it. But we still have a big important place in the G.I. Joe brand for vehicles, and so that's what we've brought along today in terms of an exclusive one from the G.I. Joe convention. This is a Steel Brigade Skyhawk.
Wow, so this was an original toy from the 80s, and they sort of re-released it and brought it out again, and delivering it to a new sort of generation of people.
What they've done is they've taken the basic concept. In the 80s they had the Skyhawk, which was a green colour. It was the same sort of idea of a big cockpit with jet engines on the side of it.
Yep.
And that was a mainstay in the G.I. Joe cartoon as well as the toys. And you saw it a couple of times in the comic books. When it came around to the 25th anniversary for that line a few years ago, they re-released that same green design one.
Yep.
And then after the first G.I. Joe movie, they did a line called The Pursuit of Cobra, where they took a lot of the 80s concepts and redesigned it for the new millennium. And so what they did was they ended up with basically this mould.
So let's take a look at this then. We've got a vehicle here. It's got skis on it, it's got guns on it, it's got engine pods at the back.
Got the engine pods, which actually rotate, so in theory, that's what
the
makes
G.I. Joe toys were always known for a bit of movement in their toys, and that made them really, really good.
So you've got the guns here, which also swivel back and forward a little bit.
Yep.
And you've got some extra little guns here, which can also swivel side to side. And the interesting thing is, with these ones, you can actually swap them out.
Oh, wow.
And you can swap them out for some missile pods with real spring-firing missiles.
Oh, I was going to say they look like they actually fire, and they do.
So if you want to have a missile-based Skyhawk instead, you can do that. So it would help if you actually plug the missiles in properly. Okay, so...
Fire one!
Fire...
Yay!
Fire two!
Excellent. So has America just totally laxed the rules on projectile firing toys nowadays? Because it was a big issue back in the past.
In the early days, it was a case of you couldn't have projectiles and they had to be a certain size. I presume that these projectiles are big enough that kids are not supposed to be able to choke on them.
Yeah.
Kids are getting bigger, so I presume that they need to keep making them bigger all the time. So.
And maybe older kids are the ones who should be playing with these toys.
Well,
not
probably,
little
but
kids.
what's the fun in that?
Okay, so we've got the cockpit at the front there. I noticed that. It opens up.
It does open, and inside is the pilot of this.
Yep.
And he is a Steel Brigade Delta.
Oh, cool.
It is a re-release of the Steel Brigade Delta, which came out with Vamp a couple of years ago. He has been given a new colour scheme to go along with the whole convention exclusives. There's some very nice camo on his pants here, which calls back to convention exclusive set they had a few years ago, where they had this urban rain sort of camouflage on there.
Very popular sort of pattern these days.
So, he's quite an intricate figure. He comes with a helmet, which can
cool.
come off.
I always liked that with G.I. Joe.
Balaclava. He has removable knife in the front here, removable knife in the back, and he also comes with 2 separate machine guns, and also a little display stand, which has got Steel Brigade Delta written on the side there. But yeah, it's great, and it really adds nicely to the little Steel Brigade collection that I've got.
Excellent.
And it's makes up for the fact that I was never able to get a Steel Brigade figure back in the 80s because it was for the US only, and living in New Zealand, we couldn't get them.
We are from New Zealand.
We're in New Zealand. Screaming sheep time.
It's cool to see that G.I. Joe is so popular still.
Yeah.
It's such a great toy. I mean, looking at these 2 toys in particular, great size, great scale, great design, fun to play with, and very popular.
Unfortunately, it's not necessarily that popular anymore. This is the 50th anniversary of the G.I. Joe brand in total. There's not very much coming out at retail in the line at the moment. It's on a bit of a hiatus. We had the G.I. Joe second movie, G.I. Joe Retaliation, last year. There were toys associated with that, but sort of between movies it's kind of slacked off a bit. The emphasis seems to be that they're going to wait for another movie to really do much more with it.
Yeah.
So the brand is in a bit of a limbo at the moment. But that's kind of nice why we've got these convention exclusives done by the G.I. Joe Collectors Club, who are really keeping the toy line alive.
Remember, only G.I. Joe is G.I. Joe.
Well, that's it from us. If you guys have any questions about this toy or any other toys, leave a comment in the comment section below. Subscribe to us and thumbs up and share it with all your friends. And we'll see you next time on OSD. Scott, thanks
See ya.
a lot.